Before we dive into today's topic, I want to tell you about something that's changed how I approach pigeon health and performance. I run another channel called Pigeon Healthy where I share natural herbal treatment methods that most fanciers have never heard of. We're talking about plants and natural remedies that have powerful healing and performance-enhancing effects on pigeons. Things like specific herb combinations that boost immunity, natural treatments for respiratory diseases, plants that improve digestion and recovery after races, and natural alternatives to chemical medications. We cover pigeon diseases you might be struggling with right now: canker, respiratory infections, coccidiosis, worms, and show you exactly how to treat them using natural methods that actually work. No guessing. No expensive medications with side effects. Just proven herbal protocols used by top European lofts. If you're serious about keeping your birds healthy naturally and improving their performance without chemicals, go subscribe to Pigeon Healthy right now. The knowledge there could save you birds, save you money, and give you an edge your competition doesn't have. Now let's get into today's topic. Last year I wanted to answer a question that every fancier asks. How much recovery time do birds actually need between races? Everyone says birds need rest. But how much? 1 week? 2 weeks? What happens if you race too frequently? I decided to find out through extreme experiment. I would race the same bird 3 times in 7 days. 3 300-kilometer races. Minimal recovery between each. Document everything. Measure the physiological decline. See exactly what happens when you push bird beyond reasonable recovery time. I selected 4-year-old proven cock. This bird had won over 20 races. Strong genetics. Excellent training. Perfect health. If any bird could handle this extreme protocol, this one could. Week 1 Saturday, first race. 300 kilometers, bird raced beautifully. Returned in 4 hours 47 minutes. 5th place out of 120 birds. Trapped immediately. Drank water. Ate feed. Seemed strong. No obvious distress. I was encouraged. Maybe bird could handle aggressive racing schedule. Sunday I monitored recovery. Bird seemed tired but not terrible. Droppings were slightly loose and greenish. Not perfect but not alarming. Monday I weighed bird. Lost 18 grams from pre-race weight. This is high but within range for 300-kilometer effort. I checked all other indicators. Keel was slightly less defined from muscle glycogen depletion. Eyes were bright. Foot temperature was warm. Bird seemed reasonably recovered. Based on these observations, I made decision to race bird again Tuesday. 3-day recovery period. This is half the minimum recommended time, but I wanted to test the limits. Tuesday morning, second race. Same 300-kilometer distance. Different liberation point but similar difficulty. Bird was basket Monday evening. I noticed bird seemed less enthusiastic than usual. Not refusing to basket but not eager either. Released Tuesday morning 6 a.m. with other club birds. I drove home and waited. Bird returned 11:32 a.m. 5 hours 32 minutes. 34th place out of 115 birds. 45 minutes slower than Saturday's race. 29 positions worse. Significant performance decline. When bird landed, it hesitated on landing board for maybe a minute before entering trap. Unusual for this bird, which normally traps immediately. Inside the loft, bird drank a little but didn't eat. Just sat on perch looking exhausted. Wednesday and Thursday I monitored recovery carefully. This is where things got concerning. Droppings Wednesday morning were watery and bright green. Severe digestive stress. Bird had lost another 12 grams. Cumulative 30-gram loss from original weight before first race. That's almost 10% body weight. Keel was now prominently sharp. Muscle wasting was visible. Foot temperature Wednesday was cool. Circulation had degraded. Eyes looked dull and slightly sunken. Every indicator said this bird was in trouble. Proper management would be skip Saturday race. Give bird minimum 2 weeks rest to fully recover. But this was experiment to document what happens when you ignore recovery needs. So I made decision to race bird 3rd time Saturday. 5-day interval from second race. 7 days from first race. This would complete the 3 races in 7 days protocol. Thursday evening basketing for Saturday race. Bird was clearly not ready. Catching it was easy. No resistance. Placing in basket, bird just sat there. No energy. No protest. I almost stopped the experiment at this point. Bird looked bad. But I wanted complete data. What happens when you push all the way to failure? Saturday morning liberation. Bird flew, but I heard later from other fanciers at liberation site that my bird was one of last to depart. Circled extensively. Finally headed home but slowly. I waited at home. Hours passed. By noon I was worried. By 2 p.m. I thought Bird might not return. Finally 2:47 p.m., 8 hours 47 minutes after liberation, Bird arrived. It barely made it to loft roof. Sat there for maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Just sitting. Not moving. Finally it half flew half fell onto landing board. Sat there another 10 minutes. Eventually entered loft. Didn't drink. Didn't eat. Just went to darkest corner and sat with feathers fluffed. Bird looked destroyed. Placement was 89th out of 118 birds. 4 hours slower than first race. 84% performance collapse. From 5th place to 89th place in 1 week. From 4 hours 47 minutes to 8 hours 47 minutes. Same bird. Same distance. 1 week apart. Catastrophic decline from insufficient recovery. Today I'm showing you exactly what this experiment revealed about recovery physiology, the minimum recovery times required for different race distances, and the permanent damage that occurs when birds are raced too frequently. Let me start by explaining what happens physiologically during 300-kilometer race. The flight is sustained aerobic effort lasting 4 to 6 hours depending on bird speed. During this time, multiple physiological systems are stressed to their limits. First system is energy metabolism. Bird starts race with glycogen stores in muscles and liver. Glycogen is stored carbohydrate. Primary fuel for aerobic exercise. A well-fed bird might have 80 to 100 grams of glycogen stored. During flight, bird burns approximately 15 to 20 grams of glycogen per hour. Over 4 to 5 hour race, bird consumes 75 to 100 grams. Nearly complete glycogen depletion by arrival home. Additionally, bird burns body fat for fuel. Fat provides sustained energy for long efforts. Bird might burn 10 to 15 grams of body fat during 300-kilometer race. Total energy expenditure creates calorie deficit of 3 to 400 calories. This must be replenished through feeding over next 48 to 72 hours. The energy depletion is first major stress that requires recovery. Second system stressed is muscular system. Flight muscles, the pectoral muscles, contract millions of times during flight. Each contraction creates microscopic damage to muscle fibers. This is normal training stimulus. Muscle fibers break down slightly during exercise. During recovery they rebuild stronger. This is how training works, but the rebuilding requires time. Protein synthesis occurs during rest. It takes 72 to 96 hours for complete muscle repair after intense 300-kilometer effort. If bird races again before repair is complete, it's racing on damaged tissue. Further damage accumulates. Performance decreases and injury risk increases. Third system stressed is cardiovascular system. Heart rate during racing is 250 to 350 beats per minute. Sustained for hours. This is near maximum cardiac output. Blood pressure is elevated. Blood vessels are dilated. After race, cardiovascular system needs time to return to baseline. Heart muscle needs recovery just like flight muscles. Blood volume needs restoration if any dehydration occurred. This takes 48 to 72 hours. Racing before cardiovascular recovery is complete means heart can't deliver oxygen efficiently. Performance suffers. Fourth system stressed is immune system. Stress hormones, primarily cortisol, are elevated during racing. Cortisol suppresses immune function. This is temporary trade-off. During race, body priorities survival over disease resistance. After race, immune function stays suppressed for 96 to 120 hours, 4 to 5 days. During this window, bird is vulnerable to infections. Respiratory infections, canker, coccidiosis, anything in environment can take hold more easily. Racing before immune recovery means bird has weakened defenses. Disease risk is high. Fifth system stressed is thermoregulatory system. Flight generates enormous heat. Bird must dissipate heat through respiratory system and blood flow to feet and skin. Evaporative cooling through breathing. Convective cooling through peripheral blood flow. This creates fluid loss. Bird arrives home mildly dehydrated. Electrolyte balance is disrupted. Restoration requires 24 to 48 hours of normal feeding and drinking. If bird races dehydrated, performance is severely impaired. Now let me show you the timeline of decline in my experiment bird. Pre-experiment baseline weight was 325 grams. Perfect condition. Race 1 Saturday, bird weighed 325 grams at basketing Friday evening. After race Saturday, immediate post-arrival weight was 312 grams. 13 gram loss during race from glycogen fat burn and dehydration. By Sunday morning, weight was 307 grams. Additional 5-gram loss overnight as bird continued to metabolize stored energy and hadn't yet replenished. Monday morning, weight was 309 grams. 2-gram gain as bird started eating and restoring glycogen. But still 16 grams below baseline. Race 2 Tuesday, bird was basket Monday evening at 309 grams. 16 grams below ideal. Already starting depleted. After Tuesday race, immediate weight was 298 grams. 27 grams below baseline. Bird had burned remaining glycogen and was now consuming muscle tissue for energy. Body composition was shifting. Losing lean mass, not just glycogen. Wednesday morning weight was 295. Additional 3-gram loss. 30 grams below baseline. Thursday morning 296. Minimal improvement. Bird wasn't recovering. Race 3 Saturday, basket Friday evening at 296 grams. 29 grams depleted. After Saturday race, immediate weight was 287 grams. 38 grams below baseline. Severe muscle wasting. Bird was consuming its own tissue to fuel flight because no glycogen or fat reserves remained. This is dangerous territory. Continued loss risks organ damage. Week after third race, Monday weight was 285. Bird continued losing despite no racing. System was so disrupted it couldn't stabilize. Only after complete rest week, 2 weeks post-experiment, did weight start climbing. By 3 weeks post-experiment, weight was 308. Still 17 grams below baseline. By 4 weeks, weight reached 318. 7 grams below baseline. The weight never fully returned to original 325. Even 2 months later, bird maintained lower weight. Some permanent change occurred. Likely some muscle mass was lost that never fully regenerated. Droppings told similar story of progressive decline. After race 1, droppings Sunday were slightly green and loose. Mild digestive stress. By Monday they improved to brownish and more formed. Heading toward recovery. But Tuesday race interrupted recovery. Wednesday droppings were bright green and watery. Severe stress. Thursday still green and loose. Friday slightly better but still abnormal. After race 3 Saturday, droppings were liquid and yellow. Extreme stress. Signs of liver distress. It took 10 days after third race for droppings to return to normal brown firm coils. Digestive system was profoundly disrupted. Foot temperature showed circulation decline. After race 1 Sunday, feet were slightly cool but warmed up by Monday. After race 2 Wednesday, feet were cold. Circulation was failing. They stayed cold Thursday and Friday. After race 3, feet were ice cold Saturday evening. Circulation had collapsed. Took 5 days of rest before feet temperature normalized. The progression showed cardiovascular system being pushed past its limits. Performance decline was most dramatic measure. Race 1, 4 hours 47 minutes. Race 2, 5 hours 32 minutes. 45-minute decline, 16% slower. Race 3, 8 hours 47 minutes. 4-hour decline from race 1, 84% slower. The bird went from competitive racer to barely finishing bird in 1 week. Same genetics. Same bird. Different recovery status. The performance drop proved insufficient. Recovery destroys capability. Now let me explain minimum recovery times required for different race distances based on physiology I described. 4 short races, 50 to 100 kilometers, minimum recovery is 3 to 4 days. These races are intense but brief. 90 minutes to 2 hours of flight. Glycogen depletion is moderate. Muscle damage is minor. Immune suppression is mild. 3 to 4 days allows adequate restoration. Some aggressive programs race birds twice per week at these distances. Tuesday and Saturday. 4-day interval. This is acceptable for short, easy races. Performance might not be peak but birds survive without permanent damage. 4 medium races, 150 to 250 kilometers, minimum recovery is 5 to 7 days. These races are 2 to 4 hours of sustained effort. Glycogen depletion is substantial. Muscle microtrauma is significant. Immune suppression is moderate. 5 days is bare minimum. 7 days is safer. Most weekly racing programs use 7-day intervals. Saturday to Saturday. This allows near-complete recovery for medium-distance efforts. 4 long races, 300 kilometers and beyond, minimum recovery is 7 to 10 days. 14 days is ideal. These races are 4 to 6 plus hours of maximum effort. Glycogen depletion is complete. Muscle damage is severe. Immune suppression is profound. 7 days allows most systems to recover, but immune system might still be partially compromised. 10 days ensures complete recovery of all systems. 14 days provides margin for individual variation. Some birds recover faster, some slower. 2-week spacing guarantees all birds and program have sufficient recovery. For very long races, 500 kilometers plus, minimum recovery is 14 to 21 days. These are extreme efforts. 6 to 8 plus hours. Complete glycogen depletion. Severe muscle damage. Risk of stress injuries. Profound immune suppression. 2 weeks minimum. 3 weeks safer. Some championship programs race long races monthly. 4-week spacing. This conservative approach ensures no accumulated fatigue. Every race, bird starts fully recovered. Performance stays consistent across season. The key principle is cumulative fatigue. If bird recovers 95% between races but races weekly, the 5% deficit accumulates. Week 1 bird is 95%. Week 2 90%, week 3 85%. By week 10, bird is 50% of original capacity. This progressive decline ruins bird's season and potentially its career. Adequate recovery prevents accumulation. Bird stays at 100% all season. This is why conservative Belgian programs that race less frequently often have better end-of-season results than aggressive American programs that race weekly. The Belgian birds haven't accumulated deficit. American birds have. Now let me explain the permanent damage that occurred to my experiment bird. 4 weeks after third race, I raced bird again to test whether it had fully recovered. Same 300-kilometer distance. Bird returned in 5 hours 12 minutes. This was still 25 minutes slower than its 4-hour 47 baseline from race 1. The bird never regained its original speed. Multiple factors likely contributed. Muscular damage that didn't fully repair. Some degree of fibrosis, scar tissue formation in muscle, that impaired contraction efficiency. Cardiovascular adaptation where heart and vessels remodeled in response to extreme stress but not optimally. Psychological trauma from the third race where bird nearly didn't make it home. Fear or reluctance to push maximum effort in subsequent races. The combination created permanent deficit. This bird was retired from racing after that test race. Continued racing would have created further damage. The experiment proved what happens when recovery is inadequate. One might argue I destroyed a champion bird for experimental data. That's partially true. But hundreds of fanciers do this inadvertently every year. They don't document it. They don't understand why birds that started season strong finish season weak. They attribute it to mysterious factors. Genetics, bad luck, disease. When reality is simply insufficient recovery creating cumulative damage. My experiment made visible what happens invisibly in many lofts. Let me give you practical protocol to avoid this damage. First rule, never race same bird 2 races in less than 5 days unless both races are under 100 kilometers. 5 days is absolute minimum for any race over 150 kilometers. 7 days is much safer. If your combine has races Saturday and Wednesday, pick one per week. Don't race both with same bird. Some fanciers race different birds different days. Team A races Saturday. Team B races Wednesday. This works if you have enough birds. But don't race same individuals multiple races per week at medium or long distances. Second rule, monitor recovery indicators between races. Don't assume bird is recovered just because time passed. Check weight Wednesday and Friday before Saturday race. Has weight returned to baseline? Check droppings Friday morning. Are they normal brown firm coils? Check foot temperature Friday evening. Are feet warm? Check heel. Is muscle full? Check eyes. Are they bright? Check behavior. Is bird active and energetic? All indicators must be positive before racing again. If any indicator is negative, skip race. Bird isn't recovered. Racing unrecovered bird creates damage that might be irreversible. Third rule, skip races strategically. Don't race every single race on calendar. Pick important races. Skip less important races. This allows adequate recovery and prevents accumulation. If club has race every Saturday for 10 weeks, don't race all 10. Race 8. Skip 2. The 2-week breaks reset accumulated fatigue. Bird that races 8 races with 2 rest weeks performs better on average than bird that races all 10 without break. Less is more when recovery is considered. Fourth rule, monitor performance trends. If bird's times are progressively slowing despite maintaining training and management, insufficient recovery is likely cause. Bird is accumulating deficit. The solution is rest. Take bird out of racing for 3 to 4 weeks. Complete rest. No training. Just loft flying and feeding. Let bird fully recover. When you resume, bird should return to previous performance levels. If you continue racing despite declining times, you risk permanent damage like my experiment bird experienced. Fifth rule, end season early if needed. Don't push birds through entire season if they're showing fatigue signs. Some fanciers race into November when birds started in March. 8 months of racing. This is too long for most birds. By September or October, even well-managed birds are accumulating fatigue. End season in September. Give birds 2 months complete rest before molt. This preserves birds' long-term career. Bird that races conservatively for 5 seasons is more valuable than bird that races aggressively for 2 seasons then burns out. If this video showed you exactly what happens when birds are raced too frequently without adequate recovery and why conservative racing schedules produce better long-term results, hit the like button. Subscribe for evidence-based protocols that prevent mistakes most fanciers make unknowingly. Comment 3 races if you've pushed birds too hard and seen performance collapse like my experiment demonstrated. And visit Pigeon Healthy for recovery optimization protocols. Natural recovery enhancers, muscle repair support, immune restoration herbs. Help birds recover faster and more completely between races. Respect recovery. Protect your investment. Race conservatively. That's how champions are preserved, not destroyed. See you in next video.